Wary observations, righteous discussions unite people.
This is the Word Up Podcast.
I'm your host, Omni, etc. Back at it again with another video, and this time I'm really going to talk about a subject matter that is, near and dear to my chest, right? My mother was a teacher worked in the school system in the Orleans Parish school system for 30 plus years. Till Katrina happened, and they retired all of those that qualified for retirement, and the ones that didn't qualify for retirement, you were just left high and dry. And my heart goes out to all of those individuals as well. But teachers, they do a service, and I don't think they get enough credit for what they do or what they go through, especially in cases where they have to deal with children all day that have varying degrees of home training. I don't think they I don't think they're given enough credit, but they certainly aren't paid well enough. I'll say that as the son of a teacher, they're definitely not paid well enough. But it's all coming to a head because we have teachers now on TikTok, on social media, various social media platforms, crashing out. And I can't say that the crash out isn't valid. With what I know of the school system, with what I know of how little support teachers get in general, with like I said earlier, they have to deal with students with varying degrees of home training, and a lot of times absolutely no home training. And oftentimes they're not properly supported by the school system, and they're not properly supported by the parents. A lot of times parents view teachers as no more than glorified babysitters. There to babysit your child, essentially, and to take care of them, because there is a legal obligation for your child to receive an education, right? And if you're at work, you're sending your child to public school if you can't afford private, which runs about like $30,000 a year, from my understanding in some places. And if you're not financially equipped to send them to private school, then they're dealing with the public school system, which means your kid could be a good kid, but there's going to be a class clown, or probably numerous class clowns that are disrupting the education process for that day. And it becomes very difficult, becomes toxic for your child. Your child might be getting bullied. But the more and more we see school systems taking a more hands-off approach when it comes to disciplinary action. And a lot of these teachers just do not feel supported. Let's go to a few videos so you can see what I'm talking about. Without further ado.
The teachers who've been teaching for 20 plus years, I don't think my generation gonna be doing that. I think I might be 3 and out, and because I'm on my second year, and that's not included through the teaching. I'm on my second year, and I'm ready to get gone, find another career, okay? So, y'all OG teachers saying, oh, it's not that bad, girl, by what y'all had 30 years ago, this ain't nothing like it, okay?
I'm a former teacher and now parent, and I can see a splitting that's happening in society, and it has nothing to do with politics. I did another video regarding this, having to do with a splitting regarding technology and moderation versus not. This is something entirely different, but connected. The splitting is parents who teach their kids versus those that don't. Why are teachers leaving in droves? And many of them are homeschooling their kids. If you were just leaving, it's one thing, but leaving and pulling your kids is a whole nother part. Generally speaking, here's what I saw. First of all, it is not cool to learn at all. It's not cool to be respectful to teachers or people in general. Being a victim is viewed as a good thing. And from a general sense, we have dumbed down schools. We are eliminating gifted classes, and just the class structure itself has changed. So what an honor student looks like today is not what it looked like 20 years ago.
That's crazy, because I was actually a gifted kid, and I used to love going to the gifted classes because it would be challenging. You would have types of games that you wouldn't get in the regular, like the way that you learned in the gifted class, the way that the curriculum was structured in the gifted class was completely different than the normal class. I wish I could have did gifted class all day, but I think we only got like 1 or 2 hours towards the end of the day in elementary school, and then middle school they had honors classes and whatnot, and the way that the curriculums were totally different, and I gravitated to those and attached myself to those so much more. It got to the point where I was doing well in the gifted but doing poorly in my regular classes because I didn't have the same level of enthusiasm about the classes because they were so mundane. I like the curriculum was so mundane in the regular classes. So that's a shame, because the kids that actually gravitate to honors classes and gifted classes and actually need that type of curriculum to learn, that man, they're missing out. They are missing out, because a lot of times they would give you it wouldn't be tests, it wouldn't be like book work. We would have that, but they would make like games of stuff to see how you would deal with your critical thinking and solving real world problems and things of that nature. So it's like, you know, that if that's going away, these kids are really missing out. But you know, it's a social thing that's happening nowadays. It's a social phenomenon. Like the guy said, it's not really political about this.
And the bottom, which used to be a baseline of had some semblance of knowledge and intellect, is now unable to read, unable to write, unable to think. And the school systems are passing these kids along regardless of that. Now
that's that George Bush era, no child left behind. So the schools are actually incentivized. It's actually baked in to these programs that the school is incentivized to pass your kid along, even if they're failing. And I think it's gotten worse since my time. It was implemented when I was in school, but from what I understand, it got worse. Like they have a different rubric, like to even grade kids on and whatnot.
Now, what teachers see is the dumbing down of society, the bringing everyone down. And so you might be the parent who's saying like, but I teach my kid, so they're going to be okay. Are they? Because if the school is now moving everything downward towards the bottom and having to deal with these bottom, is your kid being challenged, being pushed? Because what I've seen is that it now no longer is good to push through hard. If a kid complains and they're like, no, this is too hard, we are very quick to be like, all right, well, here's a way of making it easier. That's not how we grow. And it should be teachers who know this. But it doesn't help that they're not getting.
They did this with sports and participation trophies. If you were underperforming, everybody got a trophy. Everybody got a trophy and a pizza party, even if they didn't win the game or didn't win the championship. You still got a trophy just to make you feel like your participation was enough. And we really need to get back to shame and this I hate to say it, but you gotta feel something when you're not performing, when you're capable of performing. You gotta feel you gotta be made to feel this type of way when you are not performing and you are capable of performing.
The support to push the upper level kids up higher, and because they're so busy with dealing with the bottom that they can't deal with the top. So then there's this split, and the top ones are not being challenged or pushed as much as they should be, and the bottoms are the ones being catered to, but it's so hard to move them anywhere with absolutely zero support from home. And that's what it all comes down to. The parents that spend time at home teaching their kid, pushing their kid, make challenging their kid so that they excel and keep moving upward and learning how to deal with failure are going to do so much more in life just in general than the ones who are continue to be like, it's okay. It's okay to be offended. It's okay that you can't read. It's okay that you can't do that. We're just going to push you along. We're just going to.
And shout out to the parents. I just want to, on this note, shout out to the parents that are actually taking time to put the onus on themselves, take your child's education into your own hands, and not leave it up to a system outside of yourself. Because really, the parents are supposed to be the child's first teachers. Like, you are tech brain, right? So I'm always gonna go back to what I know in IT, but it's like home training is the operating system, and then everything else, every other app or every other form of knowledge that is impressed upon your child builds off of what they received at home. So shout out to, matter of fact, I have a neighbor, right? Lives a couple of doors down because I'm at the top. Lives a couple of doors down from me, and he's been doing the flashcard thing with his daughter all week. I've been noticing, and he actually watches this program from time to time. So shout out to you, homie. I notice, and you're doing a great job with all of your kids, all of your babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that sort of thing that makes a stark difference in the development of a child, is when the parents take it upon themselves to educate their children. I remember everywhere that I went with my parents, you know, I had, my mother's name is Gail. I had book work and I had what was called Gail work. Like, I had homework, and even when I didn't have homework, I had homework. And if I had homework, I do my school homework, and I got more homework because of what my parents required of me, what my mother as a teacher in the school system required of me. And it sucked as a kid because all the other kids, all the little other bad kids was running around gymnasiums and events and everything, and I wanted to kick it with them and run around with them. But now I see how important it is and how important it was and how much it set me apart from many others in my age group, in my peer group. You know, so shout out to my mom. I just want to take time to thank her and thank all of the parents out there that are taking that time with your child to give them extra work, to do something extracurricular that is still a curriculum, do something to spark their interest and knowledge, do something to educate them. Shout out to you all, because I don't just want to rag on parents that are not doing the job when I know that there are parents that are doing the job. So shout out to y'all. Keep it up, please, please, for the sake of all of us out here in society that's gonna have to deal with this. Like, the teachers are already dealing with it now in middle school and high school levels, but these people that are being forsaken and not being serviced, these young adults and these middle school and high school kids that are not being properly serviced in the education system and not being properly serviced at home, they're going to be adults. They're going to be adults. As a matter of fact, I knew that the writing was on the wall for a lot of this when adulting was a phrase. Oh, we're adulting. Adulting, which is basically the replacement for, which is basically the stand-in for, I didn't have proper home training. There was a lot of things I wasn't educated on into my adulthood, and so I was blindsided about a lot of stuff in my adult life. And so now we're going to call it adulting when I'm just doing normal stuff that is expected in society of an adult. And I'm a victim of it too. I'm gonna be honest with you, because there were some things, you know what I'm saying, I did have two parents in the household, but then something happened where I was in the single parent household up under my mother. She couldn't really deal with me as much as I could have been dealt with in a two parent household. I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, You know what I'm saying? There were certain things that I had to catch up on about societal expectations of adults in life, right? What an adult has to do for themselves in service of themselves first, and then to service others, right? So I had a decent foundation, so I wasn't as far behind as some other people out here. Like I'm seriously praying for y'all every day. I really am. The ones that had absolutely no foundation, I'm praying for y'all every day. But yeah, this guy is absolutely right. We're going to deal with this, and it's going to become more pronounced because even back in the day, you know, you know, some teacher would take it upon themselves to actually look at a kid that wanted to try, didn't know how to try, and was just being a bad kid and was just acting out, because they were emotionally disturbed and all of this, but they actually had potential. They showed intellectual prowess on some level, but it's just they didn't have the discipline. They didn't have anybody in their personal circumstance, their personal lives that cared about them. And so sometimes, on some occasions, teachers would take that student aside. But now it's a whole classroom full of them by what these teachers are accounting. So like they can't do it all. They can't do it all. These teachers don't have the resources. They don't have the support, both in school, and they don't have parental support, because now the parents are on the side of the students, irregardless. The parents are on the side of their child instead of understanding who their child is, knowing that their child is out here doing wrong. And so when the child gets out into the real world and they face these consequences, right? They face these consequences because your child never did anything wrong a day in their life. They never, whenever they were in conflict with the teacher, that the situation was never gone over with thoroughly and seen for what it is. Now, there's some teachers out there that are just a-holes, right? But, you know, a lot of the times they're teachers trying to do their job. Your child's being disruptive. The parent comes in, and the parent is on the side of the student instead of being objective about the situation. Their baby never did anything wrong. Their baby's perfect, an angel. They don't do this at home, etc., etc. And we never get anywhere because the parent is not holding the student accountable. And so there's no support on that end either. And so a lot of these teachers are just quitting, man. It's a shame. Let's continue.
I'll push you along. It's fine. And along with this, it's a total lack of emotional intelligence, which is why a kid tries something, fails, and then it's, I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'll never know this. Fixed mindset, closed mindset, and not having the mental capacity to understand that it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes, and challenging things make you grow. That's why the thing is, whether the teacher leaves or doesn't leave, their kids are going to have a leg up because teachers realize that this is what's happening in schools and know that they have to challenge their kid more at home because it's not really going to be happening at school. And we're honestly seeing the beginning stages of the movie Idiocracy, where people...
I was so about to say this earlier. I was so about to say, yo, this might turn into Idiocracy. I'm glad he said it, though. I'm so glad he said it. Because, yeah.
Get into society. They're kids that are going to become adults where they can't read, they can't write, and they're so easily manipulated because they're always just flowing with the cool thing. And they're like, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Okay, I guess everyone else is doing this, so I'll just do it. There's absolutely no critical thinking.
I'm going to be honest, we're kind of already there. I know I wasn't going to make this political, but if I'm looking at the political landscape of things, we're really kind of already there because both sides of the fence wants to hold on to their party so hard, but they don't really, and I'm an independent, but they don't really take either side. Like when there's BS going on in their own party, they never take them to task. So yeah, we're kind of already there. Democrats, the Democratic Party can do no wrong. To Republicans, the Republican Party can do no wrong. Liberals can do no wrong. Liberal-mindedness can do no wrong. Conservative mindedness can do no wrong. There's absolutely no problem in society, whatever, and everybody needs to shut up. We're kind of already there. But we're not doing that here on the Word Up podcast.
And that's how you end up with, wait, Gatorade is better because it has electrolytes.
Oh my God.
Come on, bruh. You should know that. And the thing is, that's moving towards the majority. So yeah, what are the things that are splitting us? It's the use of technology, it's the use of AI, and it is just plain and simple parents. And yes, the kids who only have one parent or divorced parents definitely are going to have an even tougher time with this, because that's a really hard thing to overcome given the school systems. So we are moving towards a have
Absolutely.
and has nots, but it's you have good parents or you don't. And because all this is going on, being a good parent is actually becoming easier, not harder. But that is if that parent has emotional intelligence and knows what's going on with schools to be able to realize that they're going to be the ones that have to challenge their kids. And that's just my thoughts of the day. As always, be kind. You never know what someone else is going through.
Teaching in the
He's spot on. I like his take. He's spot on.
year 2025 is not the same career as it was teaching before the pandemic. And I think a lot of people just aren't talking about it because the people who were in it before the pandemic are the only ones who have seen how drastic of a change this is. And if you are somebody who's thinking about becoming a teacher, you are basing that sentiment and that feeling and that draw toward the profession based on your experience as a student. Your childhood memories, even up to high school, is not the same environment. If you were in high school when the pandemic started, you still knew what it felt like to be in a real elementary school class, a real middle school class where there was projects and there was creativity and the curriculum wasn't scripted. And the change isn't entirely because of the pandemic, but the pandemic is a great marking place that divided this, is the continental rift, right? It's because before the pandemic, teachers were the curriculum. There was a curriculum to follow, but it was more of a pacing guide. And now we have what's called a scripted curriculum. And you would be shocked by how many teachers have a scripted curriculum. And this means that teachers are not the autonomous professionals. Teachers are not the ones who earned their degree and they have the depth of subject knowledge, and they are the ones who are deciding what happens every day. The script is, they're going by a script. And the idea behind the script is that any administrator can walk into any classroom on any day of the year and everyone will be on the same page, literally. And this, plus all of the additional duties, responsibilities, and things to cry over in teachers' lives, is the reason why so many teachers really have to stick to that script, is because they literally do not have the bandwidth emotionally, intellectually, physically to do the things that they want to do, even if they have been teachers since the 90s, since the 2000s. Teaching is not the same, and it has gone so deeply into this hole that it cannot be the same again. And this is why the shift has happened, where behaviors have escalated crazy. It's not because of just parents, it's not just because of students, like it's all of these conditions together. Behaviors are not going to go back to the way they were before. The environment of a classroom is not ever going to go back to what you thought it was before. Everything has changed so drastically, so quickly, and in the wrong direction that it is irretrievable. I know this in my heart as somebody who was a teacher from 2014 to 2022. And I know this in my heart as a parent who is observing these changes going on. And I know this in my heart as somebody who has very close friendships with teachers who are creators on this app.
So she's lost all hope. She's lost absolutely all hope. She has no hope in the system, in the classroom anymore. That's that's disheartening to hear from a teacher.
Often ask me, would you go back? I cannot go back. There's not something to go back to. It's not about the money. It never was about the money. That's not why I left education. It's about the conditions and what's going on and how this is impacting teachers and students. It's no longer an environment that I can see myself ever being in and not wanting to scream every moment of the day. I needed the freedom and the autonomy that I was trusted as a professional. And if I go back into a school, I do not have that freedom. I do not have that autonomy. I do not have that trust. I am not considered the knowledgeable person in the room, even though I have the responsibility ultimately at the end of the day for every learner in that room. So you get all of the responsibility, but with none of the autonomy. Schools are the narcissistic controller and the one who's profiting from the teacher's efforts, and teachers are the victim in the abusive relationship. And the students are the ones who are just catching the strays.
There are so many teachers quitting right now in America, and I can guarantee you it's related to these three things: student behavior and how there are no consequences for horrible student behavior. Number two, No support from admin at all with the horrible behavior.
Right.
And then number 3, the amount of work that teachers put in does not equal our take-home pay. And I know what you're going to say, but you get paid for summer and for your breaks. Honey, our salary is broken up into 12 months, but we only get paid for the time that we work. They just do teachers a favor and divide that by 12, so we get paid through the summer. But the amount of work that we do outside the classroom, insane. Some of y'all wouldn't last a day in our shoes.
Right, because I imagine you have to, like, when you're in school as a teacher, right? You're in school, and I actually saw this with my mother. When you're in school as a teacher, you're teaching, but also you have to develop curriculums, then lesson plans. You have to develop several weeks worth of lessons plan for each quarter or however they're doing it now. Then you have to write progress reports, report cards, check in with the set up meetings for PTAs, and be there in time early to have morning meetings with the rest of the faculty and staff, with the principal, associate principal, whenever they are needing you to show up. Not to mention all the extra volunteer hours that you put in. My mother used to have briefcases full of, because she eventually pivoted from being a teacher to be a ed diagnostician, right? So she'd have psych evals and all of this and cases to go over, and even when she was a teacher, she would have briefcases full of that stuff. And it's just, this is what I mean when I say teachers do not get paid enough. They just don't. If we actually valued the education system, the starting pay would be 6 figures. If we value teachers in the public school system, the starting pay would be 6 figures.
America, I didn't quit teaching. It's crazy because I didn't think I'd be making this video so soon. I knew at some point I would cross paths and I need to make it, but not like this. I want to clear the air before anybody get to assuming. I was not fired. I was not forced to resign or anything like that. I actually quit because I had some family issues going on that I needed to attend to. And so I had to go home and visit family and stuff like that, make sure they were straight. But even aside from that, had these issues like with family not have happened, I still would have probably quit. Just because the school I was at was just a hostile work environment. To be honest with y'all, it's not the kids, bro. The kids wasn't the problem. It's the adults, bro. The adults that I work with, they just be doing too much, man. And if anybody watch my videos, y'all know I got the patience of a saint. So like, if I tell y'all the adults the problem, it was the adults, bro. The adults are the problem. About 2 weeks ago when this happened, and I've been depressed. You know, I never think I'll probably jump online and tell y'all that I'm depressed. I'm one of the people that really keep stuff within my inner circle, but I figure being a content creator, you know, you all have helped me build this platform as well, share this stuff with y'all, you know what I'm saying? I want to say that I'm going to go back to teaching. Not forever with teaching, at least not right now, at least, you know, but I am going to get back into teaching. But yeah, man, like, I'm really at a point where I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what's next for me. I just feel like I'm at a point now where I've hit my ceiling with content creation, and I can't get through that ceiling to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's definitely, it's made me depressed a little bit. I had to pause the video real quick. You know, it get midnight at 6 p.m. and shit.
He's not really going in, so I'm gonna skip him because I was feeling him at first because, you know, being in multiple work areas throughout my work history, you just run into people who ain't shit on the job. So I feel him on that. And why should teaching be any different, right? So yeah, your coworkers probably just ain't shit, even in a teaching environment. But he's not really explaining himself. He's not substantiating the argument well. So we just gonna go down the line. I haven't seen any of these, by the way. Okay, we're gonna close it out with this one. I want to see what she got to say. I want to see what this one is.
Thing I want to talk about as a teacher. Why do y'all's kids feels like
Why are you eating and doing this at the same? Okay, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna make content, make the content, and then that little bite you could have had before or after. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I'm sorry. Let's continue. Let's continue. She was just like, I want to talk about this. Like, come on, sweetie. All right.
feel like they don't have to respect the rules and regulations of the classroom? I made a seating chart. I make seating charts every time my kids take a major test. So they had a seating chart at the beginning of the year. They just took their summative exam. I made a new seating chart based off their data. I'm a teacher. That's what we're supposed to do, right? Why do your kids feel like they can come into my classroom and sit wherever they want to? Now, I've had
You
years.
know what? I do remember that growing up heavy. Less so when I got into high school, but when I was in middle school, even in elementary school, we had assigned seating. So I do remember that.
In prior, like last year, where I had students who would come in and do their work, and then the days they knew were like a little bit more laid back, lax days, they like, hey, Ms. Blackwell, can I go sit and, beside this friend? Absolutely. Because this is the thing, those kids did their work, right? They did their work. So I didn't mind my kids last year that asked if they could go sit with a friend. That was fine because a lot of the times they did their work. I didn't have any issue with them talking. None of that. This year, I have kids that just come in, sit where they want, and not only are they sitting where they want, they're sitting where they want, and they're running their mouths. They're not doing their work, and they're talking, disrupting the whole class. I'm tired. Why are y'all not teaching these kids any level of respect? I'm tired. I've never been this tired in my life as a teacher. I normally get tired around January, February. That's something when I'm like, okay, I'm done. I've been tired since September, and I am ready to walk away from education. I'm so glad that I finished my master's in clinical mental health counseling next year because I'm ready to be done. I am actively looking for a way out of education because when I say education is in the trenches, along with everything else going on in the world right now, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with y'all's bad kids because y'all don't want to be a parent and y'all don't want to give them any sort of discipline at home. I am done. I am exhausted. From destroying my things in the classroom to not following rules and regulations to skipping class. And I get kids have done this for years, but when I tell you it's like times 10 now, it's times 10. I'm done. After this year, I am hanging up my teacher hat and I'm going to find something else to do because I can't keep doing it. They're not going to drive me crazy. I know I can't be the only teacher feeling like this.
My name's Sam.
And you're not. We gonna cut it off here. There's plenty more. But I think that pretty much that pretty much covers it. Like the kids are not getting what they need at home because they're not getting what they need at home. What they need, not what they want, not what makes them feel good. What they need at home, they don't have. They don't have the base operating system. I'm keep leaning on IT. They don't have the base operating system. So whatever apps are built or try to build on top of that, they're not being built. They're not being installed correctly. There's file corruption, the whole nine. Like everything happens in an order for a reason, and everything starts at the home. If your child is not listening at home, they're not going to listen in school. If they're acting a fool at home and you're not doing anything about it to check them, if you're not telling them, hey, when I leave you in the custody of these folks at the school, you need to listen to what they say, act accordingly, act like you got some sense, everything that I was told as a child. And if you're not disciplining your child the way that they need to be disciplined, then when they get out into the real world and somebody does something to them that you don't agree with, you can't complain because what I understand of my upbringing is that, I know people don't like corporal punishment, but I was made to feel a minuscule amount of pain at home so that people who absolutely have no affiliation, no claim, no stake in my success or failures, have no love for me out in the street, wouldn't do me a certain type of way for moving reckless, because I wouldn't be moving reckless. And that's what I think society needs to get back to. That's what parents need to get back to. Right? So, let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm very, as always, this show is a discussion. It's not just about my word or my sentiments. Let me know what you think. I'm curious to know what the public sentiment is out there. Wary observations, righteous discussions unite people. It's the Word Up Podcast. Peace, love, health, wealth to you all. Till next time. Take care.
We don't follow